Before water generates steam, it must register 212 degrees of heat. 200 degrees will not do it. 210 will not do it. The water must boil before it will generate enough steam to move an engine, to run a train. Lukewarm water will not run anything. A great many people are trying to move their life trains with lukewarm water, or water that's almost boiling, and they are wondering why they are stalled, why they cannot get ahead. They are trying to run a boiler with 200 or 210 degrees of heat, and they cannot understand why they do not get anywhere. Lukewarmness in his work stands in the same relation to a man's achievement as lukewarm water does to the locomotive boiler. No man can hope to accomplish anything great in this world until he throws his whole soul, flings the force of his whole life into it. In Philip Brooks's talks to young people, he used to urge them to be something with all their mind. It is not enough simply to have a desire to be something. There is but one way to accomplish it, and that is to strive to be somebody with all the concentrated energy we can muster. Any kind of human being can wish for a thing, can desire it, but only strong, vigorous minds with great purposes can do things. There is an infinite distance between the wishers and the doers. A mere desire is lukewarm water, which never will take a train to its destination. The purpose must boil, must be made into live steam to do the work. Who would ever have heard of Theodore Roosevelt outside his immediate community if he had only half committed himself to what he had undertaken, if he had brought only a part of himself to his task? The great secret of his career has been that he has flung his whole life, not a part of it, with all the determination and energy and power he could muster into everything he has undertaken. No dilly-dallying. No faint-hearted efforts, no lukewarm purpose for him. Every life of power must have a great master purpose which takes precedence of all other motives, a supreme principle which is so commanding and so imperative in its demands for recognition and exercise that there can be no mistaking its call. Without this, the water of energy will never reach the boiling point. The life train will not get anywhere. The man with a vigorous purpose is a positive, constructive, creative force. No one can be resourceful, inventive, original, or creative without powerful concentration, and the undivided focusing of the mind is only possible along the line of ambition, the life purpose. We cannot focus the mind upon a thing we are not interested in and enthusiastic about. A man ought to look upon his career as a great artist looks upon his masterpiece, as an outpicturing of his best self, upon which he dwells with infinite pride and a satisfaction which nothing else can give. Yet many people are so loosely connected with their vocation that they are easily separated from it. I know young men who seem anxious to get on in their careers, but in a single evening they could be induced to give up their calling for something else. They are always wondering whether they are in the right place or where their ability will count most. They lose heart when they strike obstacles, or they become discouraged when they hear of someone else who has made a success in some other line, and wonder if they had not better try something in the same line. If one is so loosely attached to his occupation that he can be easily induced to give it up, you may be sure that he is not in the right place. If nature has called you to a position, if the call runs in your blood, it is a part of your life and you cannot get away from it. It is not a separate thing from yourself. It exists in every brain cell, every nerve cell, every blood corpuscle contains some of it. You can no more get away from it than a leopard can get away from his spots. So when a young man asks me if I do not think he had better make a change, I feel very certain that he is not in the place God called him to, for the thing he was made for is as much a part of his real being as his temperament. It is nearer to him than his heartbeat, closer than his breath. There is a photograph of the thing he was made for in every cell in his body. He cannot get away from it. The thing which will make the life distinctive, which will make it a power, is the one supreme thing which we want to do and feel that we must do. And no matter how long we may be delayed from this aim, or how far we may be swerved aside by mistakes or iron circumstances, we should never give up hope or a determination to pursue our object. Some people have not the moral courage, the persistence, the force of character, to get the things out of the way which stand between them and their ambition. They allow themselves to be pushed this way and that way into things for which they have no fitness or taste. Their willpower is not strong enough to enable them to fight their way to their goal. They are pushed aside by the pressure about them and do the things for which they have little or no liking or adaptation. If there's anything in the world a person should fight for, it is freedom to pursue his ideal, because in that is his great opportunity for self-expression, for the unfoldment of the greatest thing possible to him. It is his great chance to make his life tell in the largest, completest way, to do the most original, distinctive thing possible to him. If he does not pursue his ideal, does not carry out his supreme aim, his life will be more or less a failure, no matter how much he may be actuated by a sense of duty, or how much he may exert his willpower to overcome his handicap. There is great power in a resolution that has no reservation in it, a strong, persistent, tenacious purpose which burns all bridges behind it, clears all obstacles from its path, and arrives at its goal no matter how long it may take, no matter what the sacrifice or the cost. The inspiration of a great, positive aim transforms the life and revolutionizes a shiftless, ambitionless, dissipated, good-for-nothing man, as if some divine energy had worked in him. Even as love sometimes transforms a slovenly, purposeless, coarse man into a clean, methodical, diviner being. When the awakening power of a new purpose, a resolute aim, is born in a man, he is a new creature. He sees everything in a new light, the doubts, the fears, the apathy, the vicious temptations which dogged his steps but yesterday, the stagnation which had blighted his past life, all vanish as if by magic. They are dispelled by the breath of a new purpose. Beauty and system take the place of unsightliness and confusion. Order reigns in the place of anarchy. All his slumbering faculties awaken to activity. The effect of this new ambition is like the clarifying change made by a waterway in a stagnant, swampy district. The water clarifies as soon as it begins to move, to do something. Flowers spring up in place of poisonous weeds, and vegetation, beauty, birds and song make joyous the once miasmic atmosphere.